Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Michael Beck. I am a local SEO pro and 4starseo.com. As you can see on your screen right here, this is my website. If you'd like to take a look and see the kind of services I offer. I make these videos for other SEOs and as well as for local businesses who'd like to improve their rankings and search results on different topics. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about using Schema to improve your appearances in SERPs. Once again, 4-star SEO is my business, and that's it for the sales pitch. I'm not going to mention it again, maybe until the end. So let's kind of get started. We're going to talk about Schema, what it is, and how you can implement it, and how that helps you in search results. This is for those who are pretty new to this, SERPs is search engine results pages. So basically, whenever you type in a search, the SERP is what comes up whenever you type in that particular search phrase or whatever it is you're looking for. So what is Schema and what does it do? So Schema is a coded markup that identifies the important parts of each page in which it resides. It's not really meant for humans to look at, so it looks kind of scary when you first see it because it's all coded out. But it actually provides information to the search engines, and it can help Google understand what each page on your website is about. I'll just kind of read through these real quick and then I'll comment. So when Google better understands your pages, it can then use this information just to decide what to deliver to people who are searching the internet. So it basically helps Google decide. There's different types of schema. There's stuff like recipes and stuff like that in there. We're going to get to that in a second. But it basically makes it so that Google can know what each page on your site is about. A better understanding of this for Google means that your pages could rank higher and look nicer through rich snippets. It's not a guarantee that you're going to rank higher, but if you do it correctly and Google's algorithm determines that it will help the searcher's intent, then it very well could display it. A higher ranking of your pages can mean a higher CTR, a higher click-through rate, which feeds back into your rankings, moving you up in the search engine results pages. So it's kind of a cyclical, it's a circular type thing. You get a higher rank, you get a higher CTR, that feeds back into your rankings, and that moves you up even more. So like as long as your CTR stays up with Schema, which helps your CTR, then it'll kind of go back to like moving you a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. So different types of Schema. There's a lot of different types of Schema, some of which results in rich snippets and some of which simply help Google with identifying what your page is about. So what does that mean? What does the rich snippets mean? So whenever you look in search results, whenever you see like a visual card on the next to a search result, that's an image of something. That's a rich snippet because it's more than just text. It's rich. It's a snippet. It's more than just text. So it's also about text placement, about text size, and a whole lot of other factors that really it's determined by the type of schema that you're placing. So each schema can be visualized on search engine results in different ways. So the most common schema types are organization markups. Organization markups are not generally rich. They're just it's informational. So you may see like a little bit of extra text in a search result, but it gives information about your organization, such as address, phone number, service areas, things like that. Person markups gives information about someone important in your business. It gives their education, their background, things like that. And these are often used to help establish authority. So like if you mark on a page that a certain person that's mentioned on your page has a lot of education about what's being discussed on the page, and they also list their background of some sort, that can be used to determine a higher authority. Review schema is also very common. You'll see that like whenever you find a search, you search for a product and then it lists reviews, a review typically. below it, or it may list the number of stars that particular product has or something like that. Product schema, same type of thing. It goes hand in hand with the review schema generally. Offer schema is something like sales you might have, things like that. So, or buy one, get one offer you may offer. And those will show up as rich snippets as well. Local business schema is probably the most common one, especially for small and medium-sized businesses who are only targeting a local area as opposed to the entire planet. Entire planet type businesses, that's organization. It's everybody, basically, any business. But local business schema is typically for those who are just targeting that local area. And these are the type of businesses I typically work with. But these help with local SEO and for getting featured in Google's local pack as well. So that's really handy when doing that. So creating schema, JSON. Some people say JSONs. I say JSON generally. JSON is like it's the type of coded format. So this basically links within the schema into the format, which is how search engines read your data. You don't need to know much about this. You don't need to have a technical background or anything like that. Just know that the language that it's programmed in or that it's typed up in is JSON. So Merkle it's not HTML or anything like that. It's not anything like that. It's a JSON. So Merkle is one schema generator, which is free, but there are other free options out there as well. I'm going to show you the Merkle one. This is the URL to the Merkle one right there. And I'm going to pull up the page over here. So here's Merkle. I think I spelled it wrong in the, no, I didn't. I spelled it correctly. So this is Merkle. This is a bunch of different tools that you can use over here, as you can see on the right. But what we look at for schema generation is obviously the schema generator. So I've already clicked that, and then you just basically choose these options. So you do a drop down, and here's all these different types of schema that you can make with Merkle. I'll go ahead and do an easier one, which is FAQ schema. So FAQ schema, it kind of shows you over here how it's gonna look basically as you go. But you can add as many questions as you like. So I'm gonna make it just one question right there, and I'll just say, let's see, how do I make schema? As you can see, it's filling it over here on the right. Okay, you say you use a schema generator. Obviously, your FAQ would be longer than this, would be more detailed than this. The more detailed you can get with FAQ schema, for example, obviously that's going to be better for placement. But once you do that and you're ready with your questions, all you have to do is just basically copy this. You can use this button right over here to copy it, and it's a JSON LD copy to clipboard. And then you place it onto your site. There are some other steps that I recommend doing, which we're going to get to right now. So as I had that copied, I'll show you the next step here in a second. But as far as creating schema, there are also some WordPress plugins. I deal mostly with WordPress. I'm sure that there are some other plugins for other types of site, whether it's Squarespace or Wix or whatever. I'm sure there's other stuff that you can actually use to plug in. But some WordPress plugins can be utilized to create schema automatically. Yoast, the free version, has schema generation that's automatic. It's not very robust, but it does get the details in there. And then a plugin called Schema Pro is a paid schema generator for WordPress. This is my preferred one, and this is the one that I use with clients. And I'll show you this one. Let's see, I think I have it pulled up right here. So $100.com is a test site of mine. This is Schema Pro, as you can see right down here. So compare this to how we just did the FAQ schema over Merkle. So I'm going to, first you have to add the type of schema to Schema Pro. So in this case, I'm going to choose FAQ. These are all the different types that you can do. So as you can see, there's a lot of different things you can do with schema. But we'll do FAQ, and I'm going to go next. And then I'm going to keep this on just adding to all singular pages, but you can actually do, it's a little, I'm not, you know what, I'm not going to make this into a thing about Schema Pro. I'm just going to show you how it's basically done. So you go next, and then complete the setup. And now that's it. So now I'm in FAQ right here, and this is basically default settings if you wanted something in here. So I'm just gonna update it like that to keep it all empty, basically. So like the schema is empty right now, but if I go to like post, let's look at some of these posts I have here. Just again, just to kind of show you how it is. And let's say it's this is made with Elementor. I'm sure that as long as you don't edit it with Elementor, I believe, you can go down to Schema Pro right here, and you have FAQ and article schema. Article schema is set up here to be automatic, but FAQ, you basically just have to add each question, just like before. So what is schema? It is coded markup. And that's it right there. So if I wanted to do, and then this will actually plug in the schema automatically for this particular page. So if I were to hit save on there, then schema would show up on the page, and that's all you have to do with Schema Pro. If you were using the markup from Merkle, which again, I'll go ahead and copy it one more time just to make sure I have it on there, then you have to use, let me go to a next page. So we have Yoast and schema, deploying schema. Depending on how you generate it, it's going to be very easy, or it could be a little more involved. So I've already shown you that Yoast has automatic settings, or I've told you about that. They're automatic, but the results are basic. Schema Pro has a setup, which I just showed you, that's done initially, and also has a slight learning curve, but it's not difficult. I kind of showed you how to fill that in. And then using outside schema generators such as Merkle and other free options will generate the code for you, but you typically will have to add that code to your header manually. And I use a free plugin in WordPress such as WP Code Lite, which makes this process very easy to do. So I'm going to go back over there. I'm going to show you how you would basically plug it in. There's let's see, code snippets. This is a WP Code Lite. So the one place that you would be able to do it here is to go to the header and footer, and then just plug it into the header right here. And then that would be it. But this is actually this particular schema that I chose is FAQ schema. So it's probably not something that you want to plug into the header, because that then puts the code onto every single page on the site. You would put like local business schema here. You might put organization schema here. Those two would be great to be in the header. And then these other options down here, as far as you can add like your own snippet and where it will run, basically. But the more detailed you get, like if you want in a specific page, I believe that's actually a paid option. I think you have to actually pay for that. This is really good. This is a really good tool if you want to place code in the header through every page of your site. So let's see. What happens after the schema is deployed? After it's deployed, you use Google's structured data testing tool to ensure it can be read properly. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. That's actually this tool right here. So once you actually come here, and that's the URL for it that you saw in the presentation. So once you actually have it, you basically go to the schema markup validator, and you just choose code snippet. You paste the code in here. In this case, it's this FAQ. You run the test, and then this is what should appear over here. Is it should look, it should display your schema like this, and this is the way it looks to Google and the search engines. So it's a lot of information right there for them. If there was a problem with it, it would say errors, and it would tell you the line over here where the error is at. You just correct that error and go about your day. And then after you do that, after you test the structured data, actually just testing the data itself, then you go over to, then you implement it. So you plug it into your site, and then you use Google's rich results test tool to ensure it's being read properly by Google once it's live. So that's actually this other test, which is right here. And basically you would put in your URL where you made it live. I'm going to put in the code right here just to kind of show you. So you put it like that, and you test the code like that, and it does test and code. And then it'll say valid or not valid right there. So this is valid FAQ schema. And then this basically you're done at this point. Once you get like green check marks, then Google can read it properly, and you're ready to start being displayed in search results. So as long as you use the rich results tool and the schema passes, Google is going to give that page a little boost in line to being indexed. That's just been my experience. Whenever I actually use that, I put schema into a page, and I use this second tool right here, this Google's Rich Results Test tool. It tends to get indexed a little bit faster. Once the page is indexed with a new schema, Google may decide to start showing the listing for that page in a rich snippet format, which will ultimately result in more visits to your website and also more leads. So one last thing is to use caution whenever placing this code in your header. Like everything else on your website, schema needs to be coded correctly to keep your site from breaking. So if you don't feel comfortable placing this code in your header, I highly suggest seeking out a professional to do it for you. Because what they'll do basically is typically, unless they've been doing it for a very long time, they may make a backup of your site just to make sure everything's good. And then just in case there is a problem, they can restore it. And then they'll add the schema, test it, and you'll be all good to go after that. So that's about it. I hope you found this video to be helpful. And if there's anything in here that you need assistance on, feel free to ask in the comments. I'd be happy to answer. And then if there's other, if you are a small business and you're looking for an SEO consultant or someone to help you rank higher in local search results, feel free to go to my website, 4starseo.com, and send me a contact form there, and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys have yourselves a great day, and be safe out there.